What's up, nerds? Welcome to Arsenal X, NGR's Xbox show. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, Edward Varnell.
Hello, everybody.
What's wrong, Ed?
Nothing. It's just it's Monday morning.
Yeah, it is Monday morning. And you know why it's Monday morning? Because I'm excited, I'm awake, I don't have to work today. We're going to do some Let's Play and Pods.
Yes!
Pod and Play. I don't know what we're calling it yet, but it's mine and Ed's new series. It's a seasonal series. We're going to do about, what did we say? The first run was going to be about 10 episodes?
10 episodes, yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting video series we're doing for NGR's YouTube page and our website. I'm really excited. Gosh, I'm so excited. So...
Dude, literally when and everybody, please check out the latest episode of Nintendo Power Block. Such a great discussion, dude. I'm still so hyped from that discussion that we have, but this discussion we're gonna have, dude. I'm just like you. I was excited. I'm off of work too on Monday, and there's just so much gaming to be done and discussions to be had. And what you said to me today about, even though this is an Xbox podcast, Splatoon getting an anime? What?
Yeah, where did I see that? It was like Nintendo Everything or Nintendo Life, one of those Nintendo like fanny type sites. But yeah, man.
And remember when I was telling you yesterday about when a game that people asked about if it's going to come to Switch and it doesn't, someone else's game out the blue gets announced.
Mm-hmm.
It happened this morning with Phantom Trigger, and I looked at it and I'm just like, this is up my alley.
Yeah,
this speaks so much to me.
Yeah, Phantom Trigger looks interesting. I'm sure it's coming to Xbox too, but it was on Nintendo something today, so like that's why we're talking about it. But I think
Nintendo Live, I've seen it.
I think it's coming to Xbox and PlayStation also. But like, it's like this weird hyper light drifter-y style game, but like has a lot of RPG elements in it, and kind of, it said roguelite, which means I'm assuming like you can upgrade your character, but you start over with the materials you have if you die or something. I don't know. It looks super interesting, and I'm excited to play it. But dude, let's try to explain this Let's Pod and Play thing real quick. Okay, so Edward and I have been playing around with this idea for what, probably 2 or 3 months now at this point.
Yes, we've done some, but we haven't really like pushed it or anything. Like we
did a test run of Halo 1 probably a couple months ago, and you could probably dig through the archives of the NGR YouTube page and find it. But basically, the premise of this is we're going to try to take two games that are very similar and are compared kind of in the same realm. And like, so we're going to put two of our favorite games, Bayonetta 2 and DMC Devil May Cry. So we're going to play probably 30 to 40 minutes of each game and kind of talk about, we're going to have a conversation about each game, not each game, but we're going to compare, contrast how we feel about each game and kind of how that genre works, that kind of stuff. And then we're going to do one on Uncharted 4 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, because across all of our shows, we've had that conversation for probably a year now, right? About, you know, how Tomb Raider, Uncharted kind of influence and play off of each other, and how they're often compared, and how Tomb Raider and Uncharted are kind of drastically different games within the same genre. So we're going to do that kind of stuff. And then we're going to do one on all the cool Nintendo RPGs that you may have missed on Wii U. Tokyo Mirage Session, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Paper Mario Color Splash maybe. You know, we're going to throw those in there. So yeah, dude, I'm really excited for this. We're going to do a 10 episode season 1. it's kind of a work in progress. We want your feedback, and maybe we'll make it a continuous thing after season 1. But we're gonna do that first 10-episode run and kind of just throw it out there and see what fans think.
Yes.
Plus, it's a way for us to play games and have conversation about the games, which is what we do on Xbox Live anyway, right? We play the games and we have a conversation, and we're like, we might as well just throw this up on our YouTube page as a podcast type thing. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. It kind of plays off that idea of what I kind of wanted to originally do back in the day, similar to Game Informer's Replay, if you guys are a fan of that show, which I'm a huge fan of that show.
Dude, did you see the Devil May Cry 3 one?
Yeah, I just watched it last night.
Yeah, that one was good.
I know. Gosh, now I want to go back and play those original games. See, like, I never played the original games ever.
What?
DMC is my first Devil May Cry.
See, I played 1 and 2. I didn't get 3, and I didn't get 4. And I know they have that collection for PS4.
No,
that's out.
Just PS3. The HD collection?
Mm-hmm.
It's just for PS3 and Xbox
I thought
360.
I thought there was a PS4 version.
No, they came out with DMC Definitive Edition, and then they came out with Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. But they never released the original trilogy on PS4 or Xbox One.
Oh, I thought they did.
No,
okay.
Which sucks because, like, I don't want to plug my PS3 back in and play those. Like, I wish they would just make them backwards compatible on Xbox One.
Yeah.
Is what they should just do at this point, So.
Well, but the thing about it is with because Devil May Cry 1 to 3, those only came out on PS2. They never came out to Xbox. So Devil May Cry 4 came out on both systems, and Devil May Cry DMC Devil May Cry came out on both systems.
Yeah.
So
so I'm excited for this new thing we're trying. It's gonna be interesting. Maybe our friends will jump in 1 or 2 episodes to kind of have a 3-way conversation.
Yes.
But man, I'm excited to finally do this, man. This is
yes.
I can't wait to drag Matt and Moose in here on a Bloodborne one someday.
Oh,
where we play through the first boss of Bloodborne or Dark Souls.
It went right with me, you getting killed, and Matt and Moose is just like 5 levels already in the game. Just be like, how the heck did you get there that quick?
Yeah.
It's nothing. I just like, me and Corey just getting our tail whooped.
Matt and Moose swinging their giant hammers around, just being like, yeah, we're just going to take this boss out in one hit. And I'm like hiding behind one of these rocks. I'm like, ah. So,
I'm going to be like, you know what?
I'm almost done with Bloodborne. I don't know exactly where I'm at or what I'm doing, but, I'm getting there.
I beat the first boss and never played the game after that.
Oh, man, I like I like the mechanics of Bloodborne a lot. I just, man, I want to be into it, but I want to play it with somebody. It's not a game that I want to play by myself.
It does nothing for me. And Devil May Cry, DMC and Bayonetta 2 ruined the combat for me. I can't play because Bloodborne is slow. And
it's funny because Bloodborne is so much faster than Dark Souls. Like, it plays so much faster.
Right. And I understand it's that hit and run mentality of a game, but I'm like, I want to do combos. I want to fight. I don't want to do this hit and run stuff. Like, I just don't want to do it. So, but that's me, everybody.
Yeah. Well, we don't really have to worry about Bloodborne because this is an Xbox show.
Yes.
People
who got the surge.
I understand people are into those games, but I don't know those. I want to like those games, but they're too hard and they're too time consuming, and I just really don't have the time for it, honestly. But yeah, this is an Xbox show, Arsenal X. I'm working on getting the email address. I finally got a proper email address for Powerblock and NGR Radio.
Yay.
I'm working on the Arsenal X one. I know it takes like 10 seconds, but I just haven't done it yet. So it's probably going to be arsenalx@gmail.com. I'm assuming that's what I'm going to try to get it. But next week we'll have a proper announcement of an email. You can send your questions in and stuff like that, because we do want to read your questions and stuff on the show. So
Yes.
little bit of Xbox news that we haven't covered yet. Some of these are a week or two old at this point, but a lot of the Xbox 360 Halo games are backwards compatible now. So
And also, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition is now playable on Xbox One.
yeah, so some good backwards compatible games if you don't feel like shelling out for the Master Chief Collection. The multiplayer suites are all still there for those games, they said. So I guess if you feel some Halo and don't feel like playing them in Super HD, you can get them there. So
Yeah.
cool. Which is cool because I really like Halo 4 a lot. Like I was thinking about that game in particular, and I know you can play it on the Master Chief Collection, but I have that really cool steelbook case that came with the collector's edition, and so I was like, kind of want to display that. So, anyways, back to some news. There's no news, dude. There is nothing.
Conan O'Brien and Kate Upton, they played Cuphead, so you guys can watch that video.
Yeah.
And see that. I think they got box art for it. I kind of love that box art. That yellow with the two Cupheads on it. I'm like, ooh, do I get the physical copy if it's real, or do I get the digital? Because if it is coming physical, I have to buy that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Cuphead's going to be a good one. I'm concerned about it being limited to the Xbox audience, but still, it's still a good one for them to get in terms, because they don't have many exclusives at all like that are worth talking about, honestly, right now. So, Final Fantasy 15, if you're still playing that game, is bringing us those stylish Magitech exosuits. Remember, these were announced back in the spring, but they had to they had to delay it because the exosuits looked too much like the Power Ranger suits from the movie, and they were in a legal dispute with Saban about the Power Ranger suits, so they had to delay it like 6 months so they could redesign the power suits. But
Yeah.
if you're still playing that, these suits are out. They still look like Power Rangers, not gonna lie. So, but I mean, they look cool. So,
Yeah, I need to get past the tutorial and like really dive into that game. Also, a game called Black the Fall by Square Enix is coming to Xbox One, PC, and PS4.
that's that game that's kind of like Inside, right? It looks like Inside.
Yes. Yes. It looks really nice. It combines platform and puzzle elements with a foreboding audio visual style. So I really can't. I want to try that out.
Nice. Yeah, I still haven't played Inside, but
Yeah, I have it. I gotta work more on it. I think I'll give thoughts about that later
yeah,
when I finish the game.
yeah. Okay, so the only other really real Xbox news this week, Kingdom Hearts 3, which is making its debut on Xbox with Kingdom Hearts 3, got a release date. It's 2018. Introduced a bunch of new worlds at D23 this weekend. The new world was Toy Story, which, dude, it's tugging at my heartstrings. Toy Story is like my favorite movie of all time. I love Toy Story so much.
Really?
And yeah, and the trailer they showed was really cool. They showed off some more of the Big Hero 6 stuff, which I'm really excited. The thing about Kingdom Hearts 2 that really bothered me, which, I mean, it didn't really bother me. I enjoyed that game a lot. But the thing that really bothered me is that they recycled the worlds from 1 so they could get the sequel out. And, which is really weird because the sequel came out 3.5 years after the first game. But, they recycled so many of the worlds that it just didn't feel like a different game. Where, they've showed off 4 worlds so far for Kingdom Hearts. Well, 5 technically. 5 worlds, and 4 of them are brand new worlds, which makes me really excited. Toy Story, Big Hero 6, Tangled. They showed off a new, I guess, Square World is what you would call it, Square Enix World. And then they showed off a new part of the Hercules world. So I'm excited, especially because like Sora and Goofy and Donald in this trailer all look like toys in the Toy Story world. And they showed comparisons from when this game was announced back in 2015 to now, and like the graphical overhaul they've made, and by moving everything to Unreal. Man, this game looks good. Dude, this trailer looks like it should be a Toy Story movie. Like, that's how good it looks. It looks like it's finally getting the, quote, Pixar graphics.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good, man.
I know they posted a story announcing why it took so long.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to read it yet.
Yeah, I haven't read it either. I think it's up on IGN. I know GameSpot has something on it too. So I'm really excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. On Power Block we had that discussion on how Kingdom Hearts it may be coming to Switch or not, and how we had that whole discussion about Lawbreakers and Kingdom Hearts, and they're kind of fumbling around how to say it's not coming to Switch, and that kind of bothered me. I just wish people would say this isn't coming to Switch. It requires the power of the Xbox One or PS4 to play. Like, just come out and say it. But Kingdom Hearts is a game that I'm super excited for.
Yeah,
it's finally getting a cool JRPG on Xbox.
Like it, and we talked about this. It's a day one purchase for me. Mm-hmm. I might have to order it because I can't find it nowhere. The Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, like the whole collection, for PS4. I think I might end up ordering that because I really want to play. I definitely want to play 1 or 2 back to back, and I still don't like this Organization 13 mess that I feel like was just thrown in the game. I don't like that plot line, but I love 2's gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love the double key blades. I'm like, oh, this is so good. Like, I was like, 2 beats out 1. Like, I was way invested in 2 than I was in 1. Now, don't get me wrong, 1 is real good of Kingdom Hearts. Love the music in it, but 2 just felt so like they knew what they were doing, and they were able to kind of perfect it in a sense. Mm-hmm. So definitely with Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm just like, yeah, I gotta have it day one, and like put stuff to the side and really divulge into that game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's the article about why Kingdom Hearts was taking so long. Do you want me to read that real quick? Okay.
Go ahead.
They interviewed it, and it's been 12 years since Kingdom Hearts came out on PS2. A lot of people were asking why is it taking too much time, and Nomura said it hurts through a translator that people are saying it's taking too much time. There's a lot of internal discussions about it and internal decisions that they were originally using the Final Fantasy 13 engine, which was I forget what it's called, like the Crystallis engine or something. I don't remember. Somebody will correct me, I'm sure. And they were using that engine, and they were getting the game close to release a couple years ago, and then they made an internal decision to scrap that engine, and they couldn't move the assets from that engine to Unreal 4. So they basically had to start development over on this game.
Ooh.
Which is why it's taking so long. And it says there was a decision made to change to an external engine, Unreal Engine 4. So we switched over to that. Unfortunately, there was a bit of time that was needed to be rewinded and started over. There was a bit of a setback there. It was a decision that the company had to make, so it was inevitable. We had a plan of a period that was going to take us to create the content at the start of the project, and we laid it out after such and such years. We would need to add more personnel and resources. We would have to learn how to use Unreal, and we would practically have to start over development. we had submitted it to our headquarters and it had been approved, but the internal personnel is very limited. And then they go into talking about moving resources between Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3 to get that game out. So we had to make do with the timing that was appropriate for the company. The company makes the decision. So unfortunately, sometimes this is out of my control.
Yep. Okay. Because the engine that they showed their engine, I called it the Luminous engine.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it's called. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very weird because I have wrote a blog about it, and I just ended up calling just out blue call it like the Luminous engine. That's what and I remember them showing that dragon. It was like it felt like a Final Fantasy kind of game, but it was like a dragon with some monks, and they were kind of showing off that engine. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm thinking. This is what I was assuming this is what Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts was going to be on. But now it makes sense when you said that they scrapped it to use Unreal Engine 4. I'm like, wow, that's very weird that y'all went out to use a third party engine. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys went and paid Epic, and you guys already had your engine. Like, what the heck happened? And I remember even, I think it was EGM, they showed where they designed a room with that Luminous engine. Mm-hmm. And they put the pictures side by side, and was just like, can you spot the difference? Mm-hmm. And for some people, they were looking at the real room, and then they was looking at the picture of the Luminous engine room, and everything looked at the same. Mm-hmm. And people couldn't really tell the difference. But I was just like, no, I see some Jaggies right there in that car. So I know that that's the Luminous, and the other one is the real.
Yeah. You know what this sounds like, honestly, it is, and it seems like Square is giving them a lot more time to work on it because this is a flagship title. But
yes.
It sounds like the Mass Effect Frostbite conundrum is exactly what this sounds like. Is like they were working on this game in their original engine. It was, their ideas were fully complete and trying to flesh it out. And then they, EA forced Mass Effect to change engines to Frostbite. And then they had to scrap together a game in 18 months. And they had to focus that time before putting the game together, learning how to use the engine, which, it kind of sounds like them using Unreal. They had to learn how to use the engine before they built the game.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of what, this sounds like, not like in a negative light, but it sounds like a similar situation to what BioWare had to do with Frostbite, where they had to they were using their engine and they had to scrap the project they were working on to learn how to use this new engine and put out a game, but Square's giving them the time they need to finish Kingdom Hearts instead of, EA saying, hey, this game needs to be out by this point. I don't care if you're done or not. Like,
get it out.
Yeah. So,
well, it was weird because when the Luminous engine was being shown, Epic showed the Unreal 4 engine, and Unreal 4 looked horrible.
Yeah.
Like the first edition, I looked at the graphics and I looked at the lava, and I was just like, this is like putty, like high res melted Play-Doh. It looked terrible. Like the lighting wasn't good. Some of the shadow effects was just, it felt very cartoony, and I'm like, whoever did this did a poor job. Mm-hmm. And I think at that time I was rooting for games that were using like indie games and people who were using Unity, because Unity, it felt like people were able to make good games off of Unity and really make them look good. And then just like Unreal Engine 4, just the first edition was just like, this looks horrid. And so the Luminous engine looked at way better, and I was just like, if I was a developer and I had to outsource an engine, I would choose the Luminous kit engine over Unreal 4. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, it was yeah, I'm glad like they're getting the time to work on this instead of pushing something out. But at the same time, it's like it's you need to like figure this stuff out. And like this has been a problem with Square for a long time, right? Is like
Yes.
their external development, like Hitman, Tomb Raider, like those the Western side of Square Enix is hitting on all fronts. It's like it's doing super well, and then you got the Japanese side, which is like taking their sweet time trying to figure out everything and pushing game, like taking 8 to 10 years to make a game and doing all these things and confusing fans and not knowing what they want to do. Like the Final Fantasy VII remake is another interesting one, which we'll save that for Moose and Jason on Nerds Gone Platinum. But like that's another thing, is like what is Square doing internally that's taking every game so long, where like I don't know, it's just it's one of those things.
If it's moving stuff to a different engine, I can understand that. For Final Fantasy VII remake, I think with them going episodic, it's just still such a bad idea. Because this game is huge. I don't know that one. Yeah, I just wish. I didn't even wish they even did a remake for it.
Yeah.
I really didn't. If they was going to remake Final Fantasy VII, I would want them to remake it and look as good as what's the one game? Can I think of it? We was talking about it yesterday.
The what, from Square?
Yeah.
The Lost Sphere?
Like the Lost Sphere. What was the other game?
Shoot. I know. I don't remember.
I Am Setsuna.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
I would love for them still to be on the diagonal plane, like it almost, but actually just pretty the game up to the point where it looks like I Am Setsuna. And still have that old funny kind of looking Japanese characters, but clean it up. They're trying to go for a movie realistic style, and I'm just like, it doesn't work for me because you guys are going to take long for this game. We'll probably get it out, but do we now have to wait 3 months or 6 months for part 2? And what happens if it gets canceled?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's going to be a problem for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like, how do you put a 3-disc game into what I would probably say a 6-episode RPG episodic? Like, is it going to be more cutscenes than gameplay? And because to me, you would have to factor in 6 games. They would probably have to be close to 8 to 10 hours each. Mm-hmm. So 60 hours if it's going to be a $60 game. If it's not, then that game might end up being to $80 to $100 some dollars if we're paying $10 per episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's just it's one of those things, I guess. It's just, man, video game development is hard, and I understand that, but at the same time, like, you're these big companies, and you should probably figure it out, especially one as prominent in the game as Square Enix is. So
yes, and like I said, they kind of been. I think once they got with Nintendo, they finally made a comeback. After Final Fantasy 13, I think they finally started making a comeback because Final Fantasy 14 and Realm Reborn has been a hit and still making good profit for them. People have been loving the Stormblood DLC. More content is coming up there. Bravely Default just blew it out the park, even past Square expectations, thinking that the game was going to sell well. Thought they was going to sell small, to the point where both the first one and second one, Bravely Second, also sold well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it helped put Square back into the black. So, and yeah, the Hitman thing is kind of problematic, but, we'll probably talk about that later. But I'm like, Square's been on the up and up, and the Ion Setsuna has been a big hit with a lot of people. It might have not sold well, but it's just like a lot of people consider that. I'm like, it really is a great RPG.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's yep. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So so Corey, this weekend, and I have to try to go on YouTube and watch it. It was Evo, the Evo fighting tournament, and I do have a list of the champions who actually won it. I didn't get to watch the fights because I didn't even know it was going on this weekend. Other than that, I would have tuned in. For Street Fighter Five, Fox. Tokido, he played as Akuma. He won that. Tekken 7, JDCR, he played as Dragunov and Haiichi. He won that. Um, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, uh, um, Ryan LV, he played as Chun-Li, Morgan, and Phoenix. He Injustice 2, a man named Dragon, he played as Aquaman and Poison Ivy, so he won that. Guilty Gear Zerd Rev 3 was from Omito. He was the champion. He played as Johnny. Super Smash Brothers Wii U, Salem played as Bayonetta, and Blas Blue, Rusi, he played as Carl, so he won that one. And ET for King of Fighters 14, he played as Leona, Damon, and Benamaru. He won that. And Super Smash Bros. Melee champion was Amanda. No, I'm sorry, Amarda, and played as Peach. I think they said one female won something. I think it might have been Smash. I just don't know which one. But yeah, alongside the tournament, publishers brought many announcements to the mass gathering, including new characters for Blast Blue, Tekken, and Street Fighter V, a showcase of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, a trailer for the exciting-looking Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and great-looking new games from Arc Sys and Araka. And then Japan is getting their Evo tournament in January. So, in case if anybody want to check it out, I think hopefully they are on YouTube. And I do want to see all the matches this year.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I know the Smash Brothers Championship was on Disney XD this past weekend, so it's kind of weird seeing these things pop up in on real TV, I guess is what you would call it. Like, you know, the Street Fighter's been some of the tournaments have been broadcast on ESPN. You know, and I mean, Nintendo would obviously have an audience over on the Disney Channel. You know, even outside of fighting games, like Counter-Strike's been on Spike TV, I guess it would be. So I mean, like seeing these things kind of become more prominent, and especially the fighting game scene is like, you know, if any esport's going to become a more broad thing, it would be fighting games, because it's the easiest to keep track of and watch, right? It's one-on-one.
Yes.
You know, you get to learn who these fighters are. You get to learn who, like, their movesets, like how, like it's pretty much watching MMA or boxing at this point, right? You know, you learn what their abilities are, like what they're good at, what their weaknesses are. And you learn the players behind them, you know. I mean, it's still, I think once we get over that hump of people using their gamer tags and stuff as their pro names, like that still kind of throws a lot of people up, like Bong Ripper 420 wins Street Fighter tournament or whatever, you know, like that's gonna be something that people might have to get over. But like, it's cool. It's cool that these things become more popular every year. And it's nice to see a lot of different games show up, because it used to be like Street Fighter and Tekken and that's it. But now we're getting Blas Blue. Now we're getting, you know, Injustice, I think, was there this year.
Yeah.
Smash Brothers, two versions of Smash Brothers.
Two versions of it. Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Congrats to all the fighters who won.
Yeah, I really want to see the Japan one because I know there's some Japanese fighting games we do not know about, and there is the fighter community in Japan is insane. There really are some good fighting players there in Japan, so I really cannot wait to watch that. Hopefully, they do it on Twitch. It is, and hopefully it is up on YouTube because I really do want to watch Japanese fighters play.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see how these tournaments evolve and kind of become more mainstream, I guess is the term. So, what do you say we get into this topic of the week, Ed?
Yes, let's.
It's a very interesting topic you brought up to me a couple weeks ago.
Yes,
and we're like, we'll save it for an episode where we aren't gonna have much to talk about. And last week we ended up talking about Destiny a lot, but this week, PlayStation has a lot of first-party studios, a lot of prominent first-party studios, but they also make it a point to have their, quote, arty studios, like they have Media Molecule, they have Studio Japan, and the one thing that Microsoft is really lacking behind, do they need their own version of Studio Japan? Do they need that studio that makes something totally different, out of the wheelhouse, that their hardcore fans will appreciate, and someone will look at and be like, oh, this is kind of what a video game could be, instead of shooting somebody and stabbing somebody and then shooting them again?
And yes, they do, and I think they may already have one. Moon Studios, the creators of Ori and the Blind Forest, made a phenomenal game. And it's artsy in the way that they were able to tell a story through its animation and through its music. And even though it is on Windows and it's on Xbox One, it's only on those platforms. I don't think there's plans for it to be on anything else. And with Ori and the Will of the Wisp also coming out, I think Moon Studios is a perfect fit for Microsoft, as in some kind of indie artsy game. Doesn't have to be big or major, but it's a company that's so focused on its narrative and letting its art express that narrative. And I've never said that I want Ori on PlayStation, and I never said that I want Ori on Nintendo, because I don't want that game on those two systems. Yes, I'm saying that I don't want that game on those two systems, because this, to me, this is a game that sold me on getting an Xbox One, and this is something that's showing Microsoft gamers who love stuff like this need to be kind of recognized, and that demand needs to be supplied, because if they want to do a game as big as Horizon, that's fine. If we want it on Xbox now, we could go get Rise of the Tomb Raider. That's how I feel about it. But we need something very very artsy, I guess, where the animation and sometimes the music really tells the story. Rhyme is another example of a artsy game, even though that's coming to Switch later on, and it's available on all the other platforms and stuff. It's still an artsy game where the animation and the cutscenes and the graphics and the journey that you own is all telling the story, and you don't know the full story till the end of the game. That kind of art stuff Microsoft we need for them. Now, will they find a major big studio or second party studio, someone they could just buy to create that? They probably can. Who that company will be, I don't know. Maybe they have to buy an indie company out, or look at some indie companies that's been struggling and see if they could buy them out, or bring them to the Xbox brand and really support them. Don't close them or anything if a game doesn't sell, but really support them and see how those kind of games could be done and well told.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like to your point, I don't want Ori and the Blind Forest to come to other consoles, not because I don't want to play it on Switch. It's because it makes Microsoft stand out. And like,
yes,
they have had a lot of struggles trying to stand out, I would say. Like their big thing for years was like, Call of Duty, Halo, shoot stuff, Gears of War stuff. And like, as much as I like those games, as much as I like Halo and Gears, like, they need more. Nintendo, for example, they have such a diverse lineup of games. They have such a diverse, genre field where like you have your platformers in Mario and Kirby, you have your action adventure in Zelda, you have your Metroid style game, you have your kart racer, you have your sports games, you have Mario and Rabbids is a perfect example coming out. You have
right.
Xenoblade, you have a giant RPG. Microsoft's first-party lineup this generation has been Halo, Gears, Forza. And, like, we have Ori, which stands out from that pack because, like...
Yes.
You're not shooting anything, and, like, as great of a game as Forza is, like, those games come out every year, and it's starting to be, like... Okay, we get it. You're good at racing games, and it's like it's not their fault. It's not Turn 10's fault that their games are so good, but like they pump them out like clockwork, and now we're getting Crackdown, and like that's just another shooting explosive game, and like Ori and the Blind Forest, and now Will of the Wisp are two games that Microsoft desperately needs, and even Cuphead to an extent, like to stand out from these other games, because like you look at Sony now, and like as good as their lineup is, like they have all their games look the same. Like they're all the over the shoulder actiony, shoot something, get behind cover, exploratory games. Like I mean there's various difference here and there, but essentially like they're mostly the same. And I said, like Infamous is the game that sticks out the most for Sony, is because like you actually get to do something besides shoot someone. And that's why Spider-Man, I think, is such an important IP for Sony to have, is like it changes a lot of things from God of War, Horizon, Uncharted, The Order. Like those games are all over the shoulder actiony things, and Microsoft needs that edge to stand out. They need that difference, and Moon Studios could be that. After Will of the Wisps, do we get another Ori, or do we get an expanded project? Well, Microsoft, Microsoft doesn't own them; they just own the property, and they're contracted, right? So, does Microsoft go buy them and pump money behind a new IP, a new artsy IP similar to The Last Guardian,
and Armature, the people who made Recore? I think if Microsoft is still working with them, I think that could be their artsy game. I mean, you have some of the old heads from Retro. You had Kenji Inafune from Concept come and do some stuff. But like if Armature without Kenji could be able to make a game all as good, not as good as Horizon or anything, but really dive into a game that's really to tell its narrative, they will be able to do it. Of course, Metroid Prime was told if you want to read the story, you have to scan stuff, and you want to get the story. But I would love to see them to be like, okay, let's really make a game that's very emotional. Let's make a game where maybe we speak about themes that Microsoft wouldn't really touch, or not many companies are touching. The reason why Studio Japan is very artsy, and some of their games take long, is because they all feel original, and they all have a passionate idea that makes it, when you play that game, it stands out.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you play The Last Guardian, nothing on Sony's platform from their first party plays and looks and feels and tells the narrative that it tells like The Last Guardian, like Eco, like Shadow of the Colossus. Nothing on those platforms doesn't do it. Guess what? Horizon and Uncharted, and the Order 1886, they all might have three different stories and stuff, but they all share the same mechanic, and they all feel the same because a you're going to hide and cover, and you're going to use some strategy to shoot stuff, but you're not doing anything other than that. There's not really no exploration in those games. And yeah, you can say, well, in Horizon you do it. I'm like, yeah, but you really only got 5 or 6 dungeons to explore in Horizon, and you gotta defeat some enemies to free them from the virus that they contacted. Like, we played games like that. We've done that in the like Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. We've done that stuff in games where when you take over a spot, you kind of free up the map or some stuff like that. Like, we've done that before, so that's nothing new under the sun. What we haven't did was we haven't really worked or played the game. Definitely for me, the last time I played something emotional that's connected to The Last Guardian was a Boy in This Blob remake
Yeah.
on Wii. And on that's now on PlayStation. Like, that's the last time I played a game uh where the interaction and the narrative was told through its art. And it and I don't get games like that, you know and that's what Microsoft kind of needs at this point. They don't even have to be where it's two people that you got to control or something. It just has to be something that's very different, and it just tells a better narrative that really speaks out, and that really brings the emotion. And like it, it has some kind of drama to it that you sometimes might be feel like, I want to see this as a movie, or I feel like this is an Academy Award design game, and it sucks if it doesn't sell well. Like, that's the kind of feeling that I sometimes get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, I just think, Microsoft spent, like, at first it seemed like an okay idea where, like, we build these studios to make a specific IP, like, 343 does an amazing job with Halo, took over from, Bungie, and I still think Halo 4 is one of the best Halo games out there. Like, I know people give it crap because, it wasn't from Bungie, but, like, I liked it a lot. And, at the time, it seemed like an okay idea to make that jump and say, look, Halo is big, Gears is big, Xbox 360 is winning this generation in terms of the fight between PS3 and Xbox 360. Like, let's do this. Let's make our franchises big, because Halo 4 sold almost 10 million copies. Gears of War 3, when it came out, outsold every Sony exclusive combined that year. It made sense for them at that time to do that. But now, people are moving away from these exclusives and are like, look, we need something that stands out. And Halo doesn't exactly stand out from Call of Duty anymore. It doesn't exactly stand out from Destiny anymore. Like, and you look at Gears and it's like, yeah, okay, but we've played this before. Like, not that Gears 4 is a bad game by any stretch, but, like, we've played that game before multiple times. And, like, people are looking for something new and fresh. And those are the IPs that make a console stand out now. Like, you look at Horizon, like, that's a new IP from Sony that really stands out. And people are rolling their eyes because we're getting another Uncharted in August. Like, you're seeing Sony start to have that effect, which is why they're changing their old IP, like God of War, from what it was to look at it now. Like, yeah, it looks similar to all the other games, but it's different from the old games, in terms of perspective and the story they're trying to tell and stuff like that. If Microsoft can really buckle down and really deliver a game like Sea of Thieves, like really deliver on that promise of what that game is. If they can buckle down and say, look, we're promoting these 20, 30, $40 indie games like Cuphead and Moon Studios, like what if they just went out and bought Moon and said, look, we're making a statement right now that this is why Microsoft stands out. You know, Ori is just as important to us as Halo. Like, if they went out and made that statement, that would be so big for them in terms of, like, projection of what the Xbox platform is.
Right.
And it's important because, you know, Ori is a fantastic game. You know, it's a beautiful game. It's got some of the best animation I've ever seen in a game. It's got some of the prettiest art I've ever seen in a game. And if Microsoft can shift that conversation away from like, hey, blow stuff up and shoot guys in the head to, look, we can deliver on both fronts, like that would be big.
Yes.
So
Yes. And I feel like Ori is a Nintendo X game in this design, and Microsoft needs that. I feel like The Last Guardian is a Nintendo, like Studio Japan. I feel like it's Sony's Nintendo. You know, and I've always said that Microsoft needs that, and there's nothing wrong if a studio feels like the game they make it will fit a Nintendo platform, or it has like some development ideas that, you know, when you talk about them, a Nintendo title comes up and discussed. Or even just something Nintendo's like you kind of notice Nintendo's development and the fun and the memories that a game gives. Like you notice something from Nintendo that you really can't say about other companies. Like I can't say I played a Sony style game on a Nintendo platform, or I played a Microsoft style game on Nintendo. I can't say that for this. So it shows you how Nintendo themselves stand out in this industry, where, you know, Sony, like I said, Studio Japan is just like, this game, this design feels like it's Nintendo, but yet it's your own, and I love that. Ori and the Blind Forest feels like a Nintendo game because they did something with this art style, and they let that art style and still have a Metroidvania, you know, feel to it, but stand out on its own and be fun, to be like, yeah, I see where you guys are going with it. You know, and that's something I've always said, that, you know, companies need to do more with their art style. And if Microsoft could do that with some of these RC style games, I'm all for it. You know, if they could find 2 or 3 companies and just buy them out or hire them and to continue to make games like that, I'm all for that, because people are loving some people are loving more of the RC style games over the tried and true tired gameplays of being over the shoulder and all this shooting. Like, as much as they're trying to hype Call of Duty World at War, a lot of people are not really caring about it, because I'm like, well, you guys are going back because you really weren't making the sales that you were making with this modern warfare stuff. So what you did was you took a look at Battlefield 1, see how successful that came, and you're kind of piggybacking off of that, hoping that you would still get that same kind of love and stuff. And I mean, that's fine for some people, but I just don't see it standing out as for anything. You know, it's a tried and true entire formula that they're stuck on. You know, and if Microsoft could get out of that, I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm all for it. I want more games like Cuphead. I want more games like Ori and the Blind Forest. I want something like Child of Light. I want something. Hey, even if you gotta take the yarn thing from Yoshi, or even if you gotta really bring like the cell shaded style back, do it. You know, because you're going to your artwork will appeal to more people. That's going to be like, okay, I'll try this. And if the music, the storyline, the gameplay matches that art style and really knocks it out the park, then you'll have your win worker that we could talk about. Then you'll have your Yoshi's Woolly World that we could talk about. You'll have your Yoshi's Island, with the cram style look. Like, we'll be talking about your game because it stood out from the competition and it really defined you as a company or who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I know it's a challenge to reinvent something. You know, it's a challenge to deliver on what people want from something versus reinventing it. And like, you know, it's hard, especially for the properties that Microsoft has. But like, if you look outside of if you look outside of Ori and Moon Studios, and like you look at Microsoft's kind of dead IP right now, right? You look at Fable. What if they took the Zelda style approach to Fable but put the Fable touches on it? Like, you could totally reinvent that franchise with a Zelda. Not even, I mean, you can keep the art style. Like, their art style is really cool. It's fun, it's cartoony, it's got a British sense of humor. Like, keep all of that but put it in a style of game that like reinvents itself. You know, you could do things with the morality system that are cool that Nintendo can't do with Zelda, because that's not what Zelda is. You could do cool stuff with like the pet, for example, like the dogs that you get to have as a companion to search out for stuff. Like, you could reinvent Fable and make it a prominent franchise, because people are starting to look more in that type of direction for stuff. You know, it's going to be hard to reinvent something like Halo, because Halo's a first-person shooter, right? It's super hard to reinvent something like that. But you could take aspects from like Metroid Prime, scanning the environment, not just running up to a panel and holding X until the door opens. You could take something in Gears of War and add something that, you know, Mass Effect Andromeda, which I thought did something really well, was the boost that allowed you to be mobile in that game. Like,
you could take Titanfall 2 almost and have it where when you wall jump, if you hit another button, you switch the whole perspective to your perspective, meaning that while you're on the side, while like when you jump on the wall, let's say you're jumping on the right, and you press the button, the whole game just switches vertical, so you're back to being first person, but you're able to see the enemies in a different way. Like, the perspective is kind of different. I'm down for that. I think that would be cool for Halo. That's just my idea. But
and like Titanfall is a perfect example of how Halo could evolve, right? The wall running, which they kind of did a little bit in Halo 5, like the climbing and the B dash and stuff. But like, let's see more. What can you do with a lighter Spartan? Like, you see how you can fly around the levels in Titanfall without your Titan, right? And like, that's cool.
And how the environment and levels play a part on your strategy. You know, the thing what I love about Titanfall 2 is that it's not cover based. You have to move, and you'll have fun moving, being able to frag at different points and angles and stuff. And, you know, of course, different guns are useful, but it feels a blat when you're consistently on the move, when you're sliding, when you're on doing that wall jump, and you're jumping in the air, shooting down on the enemy and stuff. Like, you are going bunkers crazy on keeping momentum, and that would kind of be cool for Halo. Like showing that not only in cutscenes that you're that mobile. Let me be mobile in the actual game.
Yeah. So I mean, we're coming up on the end of the show here, but the last thing I just want to say is, like, you know, Microsoft is actually in a unique position from Nintendo and Sony, is that they have the ability to, like, you know, everybody's like, Microsoft's confused. They don't know what they can do. They can't live off Halo and Gears. You're right. but they're in this unique position where they can go experiment, where they can go do things, because Xbox is not Microsoft's only brand. Microsoft can invest in Microsoft can invest in new IP, new studios and stuff, and they have the capital to experiment with stuff, and they can go out and find studios that can work with them. B, they can build a studio from the ground up to make these $30-$40 experiences, and really just and it would be like Xbox 2.0 would be like, where it would almost be like a rebranding and be like, look, we have the things you love, but this is our new direction. This is what we want to do.
And that same logic that applies to Nintendo, where people said Nintendo was better when they're in the corner and they have to fight to get out that corner. Microsoft is in have just got into that corner when they first announced Xbox One with all those problems. They slowly been getting it back, but they're still in that corner.
Right.
And what are they going to do to, I guess, fight out of it? Because Sony was in that corner with PlayStation 3. Like, they fell as the PlayStation 2 came out, they fell and got pushed into that corner with PlayStation 3.
Yeah, and then we got awesome games like Journey and Flower and Unfinished Swan, and they went out and got these little experimental games that turned out to be amazing, and Microsoft is in a position where they can do the same thing and probably be successful, because they have the ability to do that.
It's good that this happened to Microsoft, because Nintendo, it's always happened to Nintendo, and Nintendo has always fought out of it to the point where they don't even care. They don't see themselves pushing to the corner. Us, as on the outside, we see them pushing to the corner, but not Nintendo. Nintendo's just like, we know what we're doing. Stuff might not be a hit, but we're working on it to be a hit, and we're going to get there. Sony hasn't been able to experience that, and Microsoft hasn't been able to experience it until now. So now that these companies have been able to experience it, they'll learn from it and be able to put out better content.
Yeah. I'm excited to see kind of the position Microsoft's in and how they kind of grow from it, because it's a position we've seen other companies in before, and they've come out strong. And it's Microsoft's turn to do the same thing. All the companies go through this. They all do, and Nintendo's gone through it multiple times. And look, the Switch has some of the most creative content we've seen since GameCube, right? So I'm excited.
And Nintendo right now, like Microsoft, I will forgive them for 2017, regardless of whatever games they release and stuff. At least they're releasing some games. Nintendo, I feel personally it's going to dominate. It's just dominated 2017, regardless if you like it or not. You cannot deny the list of games that's coming out. That's pretty much going to be must-haves, whether the ratings are good or not. They're releasing a lot of content. Sony is in a position where they're struggling again to get anything out that's worth looking at. Why? Because most of their games are coming out of 2018. Sony was confident to have some games out and still be able to be as number one leader in this industry that people want to see. They would have been trying to dominate this holiday season, but they can't because they don't have nothing ready to do that. Microsoft, so it feels like Sony is giving it to Microsoft to be like, you know what, bring out your Xbox One X and bring out the games that you need, because we feel like you guys really need this. But Sony should have been like, okay, Xbox One X is coming, they got some good games coming out, we need to hit them with some fall games that's going to be worth purchasing. Because guess what? They could come up with everything in 2018. What if Xbox One X and Switch and 3DS, even PC, continues to dominate over Sony? Then Sony is going to be in trouble. It's not going to matter what they show or games that they release. they're going to have a problematic E3. Because when it comes to E3, I'm like, you guys need to show what's coming out for the fall and the holiday. You don't need to be showing stuff that's going to come out in 2019. Because the Hideo Kojima game, that's not going to do nothing for them when that game comes out. It's not.
No, I think a lot of people are excited for that.
They're going to do it to show Konami that, that it was their mistake for letting him go and him giving that treatment. Me and Matt already talked about that on a past episode of NGR. But I wouldn't put all my faith and all my cares into that game from Hideo Kojima. No.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got? I think we've kind of said our piece on this. I think Microsoft would definitely benefit from a good, I guess, art house style studio. I think they would benefit from learning from others. I mean, Phil Spencer has done a great job of really really trying to seek out that content. I really do believe he is at the forefront of this. I think he's doing a great job. That's why I support the Xbox, pretty much because of Phil Spencer and what I believe he is capable of as a leader in the industry. So I'm going to get Cuphead because I think it's something that deserves to be shown off. My wife just walked in. Hi, wife. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mrs. Dirrig.
Ed just called you Mrs. Dirrig. How old do you feel? Ouch. Anyways. But, Cuphead looks good. Ori and the Will of the Wisp is good. If you haven't checked out Ori and the Blind Forest, I'd suggest, especially if you're into Metroid style platformers and stuff, because it gets really challenging. It's really hard. It looks cute, but it's super challenging. So I think that's going to wrap Arsenal X for this week.
Yes,
man, we had a good discussion.
Yes,
I was struggling to think we would fill an hour, but we did it. So remember, you can email us your questions, which we will start answering next week when you send them in. arsenalx@gmail.com. Next week I'll have the proper email, but that's the one I'm aiming for. So send us an email. Send us your questions. Send us your topics, that kind of stuff. Arsenal X has been coming out on Wednesdays and broken up on our YouTube page by segment. So if you want to catch us on YouTube, go subscribe to the NGR Radio YouTube page. Let's see what else. Oh, yeah. Let's Pod and Play. Ed, we're really promoting that. I don't know when we're going to start releasing that. I want it to kind of be early in the week. So if you're listening to this, maybe check next week. We'll have an episode for you. But yeah, this is exciting. I'm excited to do that. Right after this, we're going to record our first set of episodes. So, Ed,
yay!
Where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at @ThatRetroCode. I don't know why I did this, but it's a habit of me doing it as a podcaster. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @ThatRetroCode. You guys can hear my podcast, Optional Opinion, at SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and also at the AnomalousRadioNetwork.podbean.com. You can read my series, The Moment, on SkirmishFrogs.com, where I talk about retro games and how they apply to my life. Check out Optional Opinion features on IGN.com. Check out some of my writings on ngrradio.com, where I have just did a review for Stories, The Path of Destinies. Do check out that review. More reviews and more blogs will be coming that day. August 8th, I will be doing a review for a bad game. I won't release what the title is. You guys will just have to rate what that game is going to be. I'm not saying what it is, but I hope you guys do tune in. It's going to be between me and a lot of other writers talking about some bad games or some games that's so bad they're good and vice versa. So I'll post a link to that when it'll actually go up online. So I really do hope you guys be ready for that. Also, for those who are watching this episode, this Friday, Splatoon 2 and Destiny 2 beta will be available. I'm going to be trying to play some on Xbox One and on PS4. Unfortunately, I don't have a Switch, so I can't do the Splatoon 2 one, but I am going to try the Destiny beta. Hopefully, Corey will be joining me sometime that weekend.
You know I'm going to be there.
Oh, yes. And also check out my Twitch page, the Lyrical One, for my Let's Learn. I will be hopping back into that coming soon. I think I'm going to restart it in August. I'm going to be writing it out also. The beauty of video games. I know this is a long church announcements list. The beauty of video games, Volume 3, will be up and going in September. It's going to be 3 weeks where I'm going to be talking about the beauty of video games. It's more of a positive thing that I feel about video games. And if I talk anything negative, it's just some of the downfalls that particular topic has had or that theme has had. But other than that, there's games recommendations, podcasting. This year I'm doing PC and mobile, arcade, and handheld. So I'll be talking about the beauty of those. So guys, I really can't wait for you guys to check it out. And last but not least, Optional Opinion is going to be doing something very different for an episode in October. October 6th, you guys could be looking out for that episode. But this one is going to be a first for Optional Opinion. So mark that one on your calendar, and hopefully you guys will really enjoy that episode because this is going to be really good. I got in touch with the person that's going to help me with it. So I cannot wait to do the actual recording and then to actually release it. So I'm just going to say October 6th. You'll get an idea of what it is, or you could probably think about it. If people who know me, they're still guessing. I know one person knows about it, and I told that person under confidentiality he cannot say nothing about it. But yeah, guys, I cannot wait for that episode to come out. And also, I am going to do an optional opinion about my backlog bash blowout. I'll get into that episode when it comes out. But yeah, that's all. You guys can find me or all my plugs and stuff. Nintendo Power Block and Arsenal X. Check us out there also on NGR Radio on YouTube. Oh, and World War One Podcast at shoutengine.com.
Yeah. Wow, I don't have nearly that much. I need to start doing more stuff. Okay, so sorry, I'm working on our Let's Pod and Play thing. You can find me at Corey Hudson and HD on Twitter, Corey and HD on Instagram. You can find me on NGR Radio on Mondays at 10. What's the other one we do? Nintendo Power Block on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10. Arsenal X on Wednesdays. You can also find us on World 1 Podcast and on our website at ngrradio.com. Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/NGR Radio Network. Join the conversation there. Follow us on Twitter at NGR Radio Podcast. Email us your questions, arsenalx@gmail.com. Ed, I love you.
Yes.
This has been another episode of Arsenal X, and until next week, we love you.
Bye, everybody.